Hello everyone, I'm Jessica from BehatiLife. Thank you so much for tuning into the BehatiLife channel. We have a really serious topic of conversation that we need to have. And I'm sure you're probably wondering, what the hell is going on in the world right now that all of these sexual allegations are coming out of left and right and people are getting ripped from their positions of power? Not just people, but men in particular. Jupiter expands and it grows everything that it is that it touches. It brings things up to the surface. It brings things to our attention. Now, that could be a good thing. So let's say it's, expanding your wallets. That's a good thing. Let's say it's expanding your waistline. And you start eating more, then that could be a bad thing if you're not trying to gain weight. Let's say you're trying to spend money. Maybe Jupiter doesn't give you a lot of money. Maybe it expands your finances, your spending. So what you have to do is look at your chart or go to an astrologer and see, okay, what all is the potential here? What energy are we working with? That way you're actually prepared. Why is all of this just now happening? Well, when Jupiter moved into the sign of Scorpio, there had to be an energy shift. Now again, if you go back into my video, I clearly stated that when Jupiter moves into Scorpio, the energy is going to shift and change. Scorpio rules death, it rules sex, it rules the orgasm, it rules power, positions of power, it rules our finances. And Jupiter moving into that starts to uncover, expose, and to expand the truth. And Jupiter actually rules truth. It rules justice. And it rules celebrities and gurus, people in positions of power, as well as as well as Saturn, but I'll talk about that later. So when Jupiter moved into the sign of Scorpio, that energy shifted. It went from being in the sign of Libra, which is all about partnership and balance and fairness and equality. And now it's like, we need to uncover this truth. We need to uncover these dirty secrets. Scorpio rules secrecy. It rules sex. It rules power. And Jupiter moving through that starts to extract like a pimple and just like pushing things out, almost kind of like Pluto would do, but it's more of like it expands it and puts it in the media. It expands it and puts it in our faces on the front line. Pluto is normally a little quieter with it, and it's like a transition that happens below the scenes. But these things have been swirling and building and developing for quite some time. And absolutely 100% when it comes to people in positions of power and leadership. And why is that? Because our structural system is being challenged. And I've said this, you guys. I've said this in my videos. I've said this years ago. So I really don't want people to come onto my channel and say like, well, Jess, you're saying all of these things now in the fact. No, I literally said this, and I don't have the exact date, and I'm gonna put all of those dates in the video, or I'm gonna put them down below. But when Jupiter moved into the sign of Scorpio, I clearly came on here and I made a video about it. I'm going to put the link down below, and you'll hear me say that the energy is going to shift into a focus on sexual energy. And that could be positive in the way that people are going to change the way that they express themselves sexually. They're going to change the way that they look at sex. Things with revolving around sex, music, all of those things are going to shift and change. I literally said it. And Jupiter moving into the, now moving through Scorpio, starts to shift and work with power and power struggles and power players. The next thing that I want to talk about and I want to make us aware of is the fact that Pluto, which is creating this process, is totally changing our structural system. It's changing businesses, it's changing our government, it's changing society. Pluto rules death and destruction, and it's working to purge and push out my battery. It's working to purge and push out systems that are no longer working for us, or no longer serving us. Why? Like, why is it systems and government and organization? Well, that's because Pluto is still slowly and for years moving through the sign of Capricorn. Now, Capricorn, like I said, rules governments, government officials, people at the top rank, ruling our world, ruling our government, ruling businesses, ruling organizations, universities. All of those people are going to feel pressure pushing on them. Now, this isn't anything new. This has been going on for years, many, many years, in fact. because Pluto moving through Capricorn is really, really slow. So this is these changes that have been being pushed down and changed since for years now, like seriously years. And things, it starts to pressure to restructure our organizational system as a society as a whole. And we feel this in our government, we feel this in universities, we feel this in businesses, larger organizations. They're forced to evolve into their highest and best version of themselves, whatever that may be, because if something isn't working, or if something is toxic, or if something is, has bad leadership qualities, because Capricorn rules these things, then it needs to get released, it needs to get removed, it needs to get completely changed. Pluto changes everything that it touches. Now, Pluto also co-rules Scorpio, where Jupiter is currently moving through right now. All of these planets connect to each other. Just like when you're doing a tarot reading or you're doing an astrology chart, you don't just look at one planet, you look at all of the planets as they play together, because they tell the whole story. No one card during a tarot reading tells the whole outcome of the situation, nor does it explain the whole story. You have to look at all of the cards. There is not just one card that, has the final say in everything. You have to look at the whole story and piece it together, and that's what makes the difference between a intermediate tarot reader and a more advanced tarot reader, an intermediate astrologer versus a more advanced astrologer. So you have to put all these pieces together in order for you to better understand the bigger picture. So again, Scorpio is co-ruled by Mars and the energy of Pluto. And again, this connects immediately with the idea of sex and secrecy, and these unwritten things, or these unwritten like secret societies, or these rules that have been an undercurrent for so long are now that Jupiter is moved into Scorpio, now blasted up and puts it in our face in like bright shining lights, like Hollywood. It's like totally in our faces. So the other thing that I'm seeing and that I want you guys to be aware of is the fact that Saturn, which rules Capricorn, and also rules these structures and society, is now exiting out of the sign of Sagittarius. Now, when Sagittarius rules our mind, our philosophy, our way of viewing things, and it also rules like different cultures and higher education and our belief systems. So our system is getting shifted and changed, or things that we think are right, especially now that Jupiter moved out of the sign of Libra and is working to create checks and balances. So Saturn naturally rules lessons and restriction and maturity and responsibility. So now that Saturn is moving out of Sagittarius, these philosophies, these ways of thinking are now being held accountable. And we now have to answer for ourselves. We now have to speak for ourselves, including these power players and power figures. Now, as Saturn moves into the sign of Capricorn, which is going to happen in the next few months, yeah, because he's at the very end currently right now. As Saturn moves into the sign of Capricorn, there's going to be a total restructuring of the foundation of these systems. Now it's like, okay, we're having this purge, and these names are going to still keep on coming up, and everyone is going to, not everyone's going to be a target, but if you have these secrets, if you have these like secret societies, if you have these sexual fetishes or these things that you've been getting away with for years, and you're in a position of power, you are going to be held accountable. There's going to be things that, whether you're a celebrity and in the limelight, or whether you're just a regular Joe Schmo, you're going to, this conversation, this topic, we're only just in the middle of it now. We're not even at the end. So of this transit, all of these things are happening now. And when it first starts off, it's like a swirling. It's like this little whirlpool that kind of builds in the ocean, and that water, that ocean starts to swirl. It starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger as Jupiter is moving through the sign of Scorpio. So right now it's in the middle. We just exited out of the beginning stages, and now we're in the, my battery. Sorry guys. We just exited out of the beginning stages of this, blasting of information, and now we're in the middle of, you know, this information coming out. Now it's like this guy over here, he did this to me, this is what happened. And all of this is to create equality and balance, and to get justice. And that's what Jupiter rules. It rules this energy of justice and sorting things out, and in fairness and equality, even though Libra is connected to it. But Saturn rules that. It rules like things. Did I say Saturn? I'm sorry, Sagittarius. Sagittarius rules like justice coming to a head. It rules judges. It rules like this order happening, like truthfully, honestly. And honestly, I wouldn't lie to you, honestly. Do you guys know where that came from? Anyways, yeah, so this energy is going to keep on moving and keep on happening. There's going to be many more people from all, like the music industry. I mean, right now it's, you know, it started with Bill Cosby and, you know, kind of trickled down. And, but it's going to spread even further. Anybody who's in a position of power that has ever abused their power, is going to get brought to the surface, especially if you are a celebrity, if you're in the limelight, simply because Jupiter, Scorpio, Jupiter naturally ruling these celebrities in star status, moving to the sign of Scorpio, of sex, sexual deviance, power struggles, secrecy, fetishes, all of those things are getting brought to a light. Pluto moving through the sign, Pluto of transformation and transition and death is moving through the sign of Capricorn, calling us to completely revisit and redo and correct our messy structures, our messy foundations, the things that we've built upon, that we've had for years, that have been serving only a small few. And now it's like we need to look at the bigger picture. We need to look at the whole, because there's people who are being targeted. There's people who are victims, and these things stay a secret. They stay dormant, and it's not fair. It's not right. Saturn moving through the sign of Sagittarius, you know, again, brings us law and order and calls people to be accountable for their actions. So they have to step down while they are stepping down. And Saturn is ruling this leadership and maturity and responsibility, is opening up the door for more responsible, better quality leaders, more powerful people in a good way, hopefully, fingers crossed, to come in, hopefully with better character, and take on these positions and change, again, even create even more change, okay? Yeah, so that's what's going on. That's to explain what's going on in the world right now when it comes to these sexual assault allegations. Is this the end? Absolutely not. They're going to keep on going in, and we're just going to watch. We're going to wait, and we're going to set intention that all of these changes that are happening now are for the better. Of course they are, because they're exposed and we know about it, and now we can totally shift and change. So in the future, this whole sexual assault type of stuff and sexual harassment is something of the past, and we're totally restructuring how we handle it, how we handle ourselves and our businesses, our corporations, our society, our government, power figures in general. People are held accountable for their actions instead of it just being swept under the rug in something that's just a secret, because Jupiter and Scorpio will not allow it. I love you guys. You heard it here first again. Bye.